Vasile, thank you very much for your question. And may I also recognize the President, the Chief of Section, honorable delegates, ladies and gentlemen, and children who are present here today. It's wonderful to have the opportunity to represent the Committee on the Rights of the Child on this important panel on child rights mainstreaming. And Vasile, thank you so much for sharing those experiences with us. I think it really brings it alive. You know, child rights mainstreaming, it doesn't capture the imagination, those words. But when you speak about what you've been doing in Moldova, then I think we can get a better understanding of what it really means. So thank you for that. I think in answer to your question about what the Committee on the Rights of the Child has been doing, it starts all from the Convention on the Rights of the Child itself, because the Convention reimagines children as rights holders, not just as objects to be beneficiaries of adults who bestow rights on them, but actually people who are stakeholders in the realization of rights. And that means that in order for children's rights to be achieved, children actually need to be involved in all aspects of decision-making. So child participation has long been an important part of the Committee on the Rights of the Child's work. We've adopted working methods for how to involve children in our work, in the review of states' parties, and also in our days of general discussion and in our issuing of and drafting of general comments. So we've actually done quite a lot of work on including children. Now, when it comes to the state party review process, we actually meet with children for a whole hour between 9 and 10 when we're going to meet with civil society organizations and NHRIs and UN agencies from the next few hours. And that gives children really the opportunity to be in a relaxed space with us. We usually try to do this in person, but sometimes we've been doing it online as well. We've been thinking about trying to formalize that, because the one problem is we don't have translation in these informal processes. But unfortunately, recently WebEx has been discontinued, so therefore formalizing it is probably not going to be an option. But we will continue to make that channel available for children through informal means. We've also been really involving children in our general comments drafting for a number of years, but it really reached a high watermark for our general comment on children's rights in the environment, with a special focus on climate change, where 16,331 children participated from 121 countries. And we also work with civil society partners on producing materials that are understandable to children, so that we're not just putting out these heavy, boring UN documents, but we're also trying to make things more interesting and real for children as well. But as we all know, the concept of child rights mainstreaming extends far beyond ensuring children's participation and child-friendly materials. It's also about breaking down silos and ensuring that the whole UN system is aware of children's rights and builds children's rights into their work as well. Now, we have seen some increasing strides in this direction. Firstly, in relation to the human rights treaty bodies, in 2020, children and child rights organizations made contributions to the Human Rights Committee's general comment on the right to peaceful assembly. And that was probably the first time that children participated in the Human Rights Committee's deliberations. There were consultations with 91 children from 15 countries that contributed to that. Then in April 2022, children had the opportunity to put forward their ideas in the process of drafting a general comment by the UN Committee on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. And the harmonization work between the treaty bodies also, which is part of what we call treaty body strengthening, has led to cross-committee cooperation and discussions. So we have been having discussions with, for example, the Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and we issued a joint statement together with them. We also issued a joint statement with the Committee on Enforced Disappearances about illegal adoptions. And we've done general comments together with other committees as well, CEDAW and the Committee on Migrant Workers' Rights. So this shows how the child rights mainstreaming can happen through cooperation between different treaty bodies. So we've also occasionally do joint statements with other mandate holders, such as special rapporteurs and the special representatives of the Secretary General on Children in Armed Conflict and the Special Representative of the Secretary General on Violence Against Children. We've also issued joint statements with them in the past. The special procedures under the Human Rights Council, this is the special rapporteurs, and I know you're very familiar with the special rapporteur on the rights of human rights defenders because you've told us all about that. And indeed, she has just issued this week, presented her report on the rights of child human rights defenders, which is entitled, "We're Not Just the Future, Challenges Faced by Child and Youth Human Rights Defenders." So that's a really great example. But actually, we've seen special rapporteurs for a number of years, including children, as a focus in their work. We've seen that from the Special Rapporteur on Climate Change, who participated together with the CRC in a day of general discussion in 2016, and then issued a thematic report on children's rights and the environment. And he continues to talk about the rights of children in annual reports as well. The Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Peaceful Assembly has also paid considerable attention to children's right to protest. He's also issued something this week and also flagging children's rights in that. So we can see that there is a lot of attention to the work that's being done by child human rights defenders there. The Special Rapporteur on the human rights to safe drinking water and sanitation also has issued educational stories for children. And the Special Rapporteur on the promotion and protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms while countering terrorism has issued position papers and reports on children's rights. I think it's also very noticeable that just lately there's been particularly in the context of armed conflict and the fact that children are at the center of that, we've seen quite a lot of statements issued by special rapporteurs on food and housing and development. Let me end then by also saying that in the universal periodic review process, we're seeing more and more involvement of children. We'd like to see that become even more mainstreamed in the future. Thank you.